Stated Clearly presents the science behind a new Alzheimer's treatment. Why MSF is superior. MSF is a new drug shown to revive memory and improve brain function in Alzheimer's patients. It does so more effectively and without the serious side effects caused by the FDA-approved drugs which are currently used to treat Alzheimer's patients. Let's take a peek behind the curtain to see exactly how MSF works its scientific magic. We'll start with a quick look at how nerve cells communicate and how that communication is affected by Alzheimer's. The brain. As strange as it might sound, human thoughts, our hopes, dreams, and memories, are the result of ongoing storms of electric charges inside our brains. The brain is a complex network of nerve cells, also called neurons, which basically just hang out and send signals to each other. Each neuron has a long branching tail, technically called an axon, which reaches out to other neurons. On the tip of each branch is a bulb that almost touches its target cell. The gap between the bulb and the target cell is called a synapse. The bulb is filled with tiny packets of chemicals, including the all-important acetylcholine. A signal, a wave of electric charges, is sent from one nerve cell to a target cell in the following manner. When a nerve cell is triggered, a signal passes through its body, down its tail, to its bulbs. That signal causes release of acetylcholine molecules into synapses between that cell and its target cells. Tiny receptors on the target cell, shown here in blue, open each time they're hit by an acetylcholine, thereby creating a small electric charge inside the target cell. If enough receptors open at once, the charge builds up sufficient to trigger a signal, which passes down the tail of that target cell to the next cells in the network. Once the signal has been sent, acetylcholines must be removed from the synapse to stop charge buildup. For this reason, the synapse is lined with enzymes which eat acetylcholine, thus cleaning out the synapse after each use. Let's see that entire process again. A nerve cell sends a signal down its tail to its bulbs. This causes release of acetylcholines into the synapses. When an acetylcholine hits an enzyme, the acetylcholine is destroyed. When an acetylcholine hits a receptor, it generates a small electric charge in the target cell. If enough charge builds up in the target cell, it triggers a signal, which passes down the tail of the target cell to the next cells in the network. It's important to note that in most cases, a neuron must be hit several times in order to build up a sufficient charge to trigger the signal that will pass down its tail. This can happen with quick repeating hits from a single neuron, or it can happen when several neurons hit the target cell in unison. Billions of these signals are being passed inside your brain at this very moment. They're what's allowing you to process and understand this video you're watching now. Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease kills brain cells. It does so fairly slowly, but the effects of Alzheimer's, a loss of memory and brain function, can set in rather quickly. This is because even though most neurons are still alive and functioning, they need to be hit by multiple signals at once to trigger a signal. If several of their connecting cells are dead, the remaining connections fail to produce enough hits to trigger a signal. As a result, as more brain cells die, an increasing number of signals are lost inside the brain. We don't yet have a way to stop the progressive killing of brain cells in Alzheimer's patients, nor can we bring neurons back from the dead. But scientists have discovered a chemical trick which allows the brain to function with fewer connections. This trick can revive a patient's memory. Even though a few of the connecting cells are dead, drugs which block some of the enzymes in the synapse allow the remaining acetylcholines to hang around longer, generate more hits, and still trigger a signal. This means that if your neuron used to need, say, 4 hits to trigger a signal, When such a drug is present, then just 2 or 3 hits can be enough to trigger that signal. Numerous experiments have shown that this improves memory in Alzheimer's patients. Side effects. The current FDA-approved drugs used for improving memory in Alzheimer's patients block enzymes in both nerve-to-nerve synapses in the brain and in nerve-to-muscle synapses elsewhere in the body, including the gut. While blocking the enzymes in the brain improves memory in Alzheimer's patients, blocking the enzymes elsewhere in the body triggers excessive signals to the muscles, causing cramps, vomiting, nausea, and diarrhea. Not much fun. Therefore, to minimize these serious side effects in the gut, current Alzheimer's drugs have to be taken at such low doses that they only partially improve memory. Even at these low doses, significant side effects in the gut can still occur. Thus, the key challenge in attempting to improve memory by blocking enzymes and synapses is to achieve enough blockage in the brain to produce optimal memory improvement, while at the same time minimizing blockage in the rest of the body in order to avoid serious side effects. The current FDA-approved drugs for reviving memory in Alzheimer's patients act by only temporarily blocking enzymes and synapses. After a few hours to a few days, those drugs wash away, leaving active enzymes. Such drugs offer no good way to achieve high enzyme blocking in the brain to improve memory, while avoiding high enzyme blocking in the rest of the body to avoid side effects in the gut. The best these currently approved drugs can provide is just a small improvement in memory while avoiding an unacceptable level of side effects in the gut. The MSF difference. While current drugs for memory improvement in Alzheimer's are taken at a dose that provides only a small improvement in memory in order to avoid serious side effects in the gut, what is really needed is a new drug which provides a greater improvement in memory while avoiding essentially all side effects in the gut. To achieve this, that new drug should provide high enzyme blocking in the brain to improve memory, while causing only low enzyme blocking in the rest of the body to avoid side effects in the gut. MSF does just that. MSF achieves this greater memory improvement without serious side effects because it functions differently than the current FDA-approved drugs that block enzymes and synapses. As noted earlier, the currently available drugs just temporarily block enzymes and synapses. In contrast, MSF permanently disables enzymes and synapses. At first glance, this might seem like a bad thing. After all, you do need those enzymes, right? But here's the trick. Your cells constantly replace the enzymes within synapses to keep things fresh and functional. Years ago, Dr. Donald Moss made the discovery that nerve cells in the brain replace their enzymes slowly, 12 days, whereas muscle cells replace their enzymes quickly, 1 day. Because MSF permanently disables enzymes within synapses, it is possible to exploit this slow enzyme replacement in the brain and fast enzyme replacement in the gut. This simply entails giving MSF in small, regular doses. A single dose is so small that even though it does disable a few enzymes, it won't affect you in any noticeable way. No increase in brain function, and no intestinal problems. By the time you take your second dose, your muscles have already replaced most of the disabled enzymes in their synapses, but the slowly replaced enzymes of the brain are still disabled by the first dose. After 2 or 3 weeks of regular treatment, the effects of MSF accumulate in the brain to a level optimal for memory improvement, while the intestine, with its fast replacement of the enzymes, doesn't even know it's been treated. Much greater memory recovery? Side effects avoided. It is estimated that enzyme blockage in the brain needs to be more than about 50% for optimal memory recovery. The blue lines in this graph show calculated amounts of enzyme blockage in the brain estimated for the leading FDA-approved drug, which temporarily blocks enzyme, and for MSF, which permanently disables enzyme. It is estimated that enzyme blockage in the gut needs to be less than about 30% to prevent serious side effects. The red lines in this graph show calculated amounts of enzyme blockage in the gut estimated for the leading FDA-approved drug and for MSF. As you can see, even the best FDA-approved drug cannot achieve a level of enzyme blockage in the brain adequate for optimal memory recovery without also producing serious side effects. But MSF easily achieves a level of enzyme blockage in the brain adequate for optimal memory recovery, while also avoiding levels in the gut which would produce side effects. MSF has been tested for safety in rats, dogs, monkeys, and then Dr. Donald Moss, the man who first discovered the special properties of MSF in the brain, tested MSF in himself. Subsequently, MSF has been tested for safety in dozens of other healthy volunteers, and the successful results of those safety tests are published in 2 scientific journals, Alzheimer's Disease and Associated Disorders and the British Journal of Clinical Pharmacology. MSF has also been tested in 15 Alzheimer's patients for revival of their memories, and MSF was found to improve memory at least 2 to 3 times better than do the current FDA-approved drugs which are now widely used for treating Alzheimer's. MSF achieved this remarkable revival of memory without causing the serious side effects which commonly plague patients taking the other drugs. We need your help. MSF is not yet approved by the FDA. To move forward with the costly later-stage clinical trials on MSF which are needed for obtaining FDA approval, we need your help. Brain Tools LLC comprises scientists and laypeople alike, dedicated to completing the clinical trials on MSF, obtaining regulatory approval, and then producing and distributing MSF to patients as soon as possible and at a low cost. Visit our website at www.brain-tools.com to learn more and make a contribution. Join us, contribute, and share this video with your friends. Help give Alzheimer's patients their minds back.